My name is Charlotte, and I'm 83 years old. Life has been both a gift and a storm, raising my two boys, Caleb and Jack, on grocery store wages, losing Nathan, my husband of nearly 5 decades, and trying to breathe in a house that echoed his laugh in every creaking floorboard. My fingers? Bent and weathered like the willow tree he planted by our fence, once tied shoelaces, kneaded bread, and cradled Caleb's daughter when she was colicky and wouldn't sleep. I thought I had seen the worst life could give. Then I moved into a nursing home. It felt like the only choice. Caleb sat across from me, tracing the rim of my chipped floral teacup, one he gave me as a child. "Mom, the stairs aren't safe anymore." "You already fell," he whispered, guilt tangled in his voice. Jack nodded, eyes like Nathan's, saying softly, "It's just until we figure something better out." Their concern felt like love. I believed them. I packed a suitcase filled with wool sweaters, Nathan's watch, and a few photos. Unaware, I was leaving behind more than a house. I was leaving behind myself. The first morning I woke up in the nursing facility, everything was wrong. I reached instinctively for Nathan's old brass clock, the one we found at a roadside flea market back in '71. It used to tick like a heartbeat on our nightstand, always a beat ahead of dawn. But now my fingers closed on air. No familiar tick. No faint smell of fresh coffee drifting from the kitchen. No warm quilt wrapped around my knees. Just beige silence, fluorescent lights buzzing like a gnat I couldn't swat, and a stiff bed that cradled no memory. Back home in Pine Hill, mornings were sacred. I'd pad downstairs in my wool slippers across the hardwood floors Nathan sanded smooth for our anniversary. His final gift before cancer took his hands, then the rest of him. I'd brew strong coffee in my chipped kettle, worn smooth where my fingers had curved around the handle for 30 years. The aroma would rise, curling to the ceiling like incense for the life we built. I'd sit in my sunlit reading chair, faded green velvet, flipping through Jane Austen or Charles Dickens, the same pages I'd touched for decades. But here breakfast slammed onto a plastic tray at 7:30 sharp. Rubber eggs, toast I didn't toast. An orange slice I didn't peel. The nurse, Jenny, chirped something about a group walk, then disappeared down the hallway, her sneakers squeaking like a bad joke. That first week, I begged for fresh air. "Just 15 minutes outside, please," I whispered, but hours passed, no one came. Eventually, I stopped asking. One night, they turned my light off mid-sentence. Mid-chapter 12, actually, my book left gasping in the dark. I cried. Quietly, of course. The kind of cry that hides in your throat and shakes your ribs. They said they'd care for me. But they never told me care would mean losing the right to decide how I start my morning or when I go outside. I went from a woman who could still rake autumn leaves, fold warm laundry, and hum tunes to my cat, to someone whose juice choice is decided by a rotating chart. I used to walk to Marla's Market 3 blocks down. She'd save me the ripe peaches, always smiled when she saw my green coat, the one Caleb gave me from his first paycheck. Now, my world is hallways and silence, interrupted by nurses and schedules I didn't make. I close my eyes and try to remember the feel of our porch steps under my heels. 7 of them, slightly uneven, groaning with each step like they knew me. Now, my life is sanitized, fluorescent, clocked in. You don't just lose independence here. You lose ownership of your breath, of your rhythm, of your soul. When I zipped up my suitcase that morning, Caleb hugged me like he wasn't letting go. His flannel shirt smelled of lavender. Same detergent he's used since college. "We'll visit all the time, Mom. Promise." His voice cracked, and I clung to those words like a lifeline. Jack jingled his keys, an old nervous tick, and grinned. "I'll bring Hazel and Cooper every weekend. You'll barely notice we're gone." I packed their promises with Nathan's broken watch, its hands forever frozen at 317, the moment he slipped away in my arms. The first few weeks they came. Every Sunday, like clockwork. Caleb brought lemon cookies from a recipe I taught him when he was 12. We'd burned the first batch and laughed until we cried. Hazel doodled pictures of me with pink hair and giant glasses. Cooper spilled juice on the table. chattering about dinosaurs and his new soccer cleats. I felt alive again, stitched together by their love in that sterile visiting room, beneath fake ferns and muted wallpaper. But slowly they began to fade. By month 3, the cookies stopped coming. Caleb called instead. "Work's just insane, Mom." His voice thin, like he was halfway to hanging up. Hazel had bollet. Cooper had a fever. Jack moved 3 states away, chasing a new promotion, a new life. "Next time, Ma," he'd say. "I'll be there next time." Last Christmas, I sat in the common room wrapped in my old red sweater. The one with the reindeer dancing across the front. Hazel used to say, "Still wearing that, Grandma?" with a giggle that melted my heart. I waited for the door to swing open. Waited to hear the thump of little feet on linoleum. To see Cooper's toothy grin and Hazel's crayon-streaked masterpiece. But noon bled into 6. The clock on the wall buzzed like a wasp. My phone pinged. "Snow's bad, Mom. We'll come soon." I ate dry turkey alone, watching a family on TV unwrap gifts with exaggerated joy. Their laughter felt like a slap. Across from me, Mrs. Langley twisted her napkin into knots. Wells stared at a faded photo of his daughter. No one knocked. No one came. We're not people here. We're ghosts waiting to be remembered. I don't blame them, not really. Caleb's juggling meetings and lunch boxes. Hazel's outgrowing lullabies. Jack's building a house where I'll never smell the walls or burn toast in the mornings. Still, some nights I sit in my recliner, thumb trembling over Caleb's name, wanting to scream, "I miss you. I miss your chaos, your mess, your noise. I miss being needed." But I don't press call. I won't be the weight. I won't be the guilt. Instead, I listen to the hallway hum. Nurse Mary once muttered, "They all say they'll visit," and nodded toward the yellowed card taped above Mrs. Langley's bed. And I realized, that's me. I'm becoming the card. Back in Willow Creek, my little home thrummed with quiet purpose. I knew every creak in the floor, every spot where the sunlight hit just right. My mornings began with watering the geraniums on the windowsill, their pink petals trembling in the breeze. I talked to them like they were old friends. Because, in a way, they were. Watching them bloom felt like a silent victory. Life was still moving. I was still needed. The old radio in the kitchen played Ella Fitzgerald on scratchy vinyl. Nathan had gifted it to me on our first anniversary. The volume knob was loose, and I had to wiggle it just right to get the sound. I'd knit scarves. Blue for Hazel, green for Cooper, even if they never wore them. I added chives to my scrambled eggs, just like Nathan liked. I was still someone. Now the meals arrive on a plastic tray. Gray oatmeal, rubbery chicken, something that once resembled peas. No need to stir, season, or even think. The staff scrubs my room before I can lift a rag. They say it's help. I say it's hollow. George, a retired carpenter down the hall, used to build birdhouses. His hands were strong once. Now they tremble on the armrest of his wheelchair, the blueprints in his head dissolving like smoke. One afternoon, over lukewarm tea, he whispered, "They don't let us fix anything here. Nothing to fix, nothing to be." That pierced me. I tried knitting with the soft blue yarn Caleb's wife gave me for Christmas, something to do with my hands, something that felt like me. But Nurse Clara gently swapped it for a jigsaw puzzle. "Easier on the wrists," she said. "Easier. I don't want easier. I want real. I want struggle. I want to drop a stitch and curse and start over. I want to matter." One day I bent to pick up a spoon that had clattered to the floor. My back screamed, my knees shook. But I was determined. I needed to feel useful, to feel capable, even if it was just a single spoon. Clara rushed in. "I've got it," she said, bending before I could reach it. Her kindness burned like salt in a wound. I sat on my bed that night, hands folded in my lap like they didn't belong to me. I used to bake birthday cakes, patch skinned knees, rake leaves until my arms ached. Now I couldn't even retrieve a spoon without someone stopping me. I close my eyes and see my geraniums, thirsty under a clouded sky, petals wilting. Did Caleb remember to water them? Nathan's voice would tease me gently. "Come on, Charlotte. Those flowers need you." And now, no one does. Purpose doesn't vanish all at once. It slips away, thread by thread, until you look down and realize your hands are empty. At 80, I could still climb the stairs in my house. Slowly, sure, but with pride. Nathan's oak banister, polished smooth by our years together, was my steady companion. I'd walk to the mailbox every morning, 100 steps round trip, with the sharp air of Willow Creek brushing my cheeks. I stirred soups with strong arms, humming old tunes, dancing with memories. Now I press a button when I drop my fork. I didn't expect my strength to disappear this fast. No one tells you that once you stop moving, your body forgets how. The first week I sat a lot. They said I needed rest. The second week my knees began to protest. By the third, I could feel my calves weakening, muscle melting like snow under sun. I tried stretching by the window, raising my arms like I used to in morning yoga, but my balance faltered. I sank into the chair, sweating, breath short. "Don't push it," Nurse Jenny chirped, wheeling in my lunch tray. Chicken again. Pale, bland, no soul. I used to sweep the porch. I used to chase Cooper around the yard while Hazel screamed with laughter. I used to be sturdy. Now, 10 steps to the bathroom feel like Everest. Down the hall, Tom, once a fisherman with biceps that pulled in nets at dawn, now taps a cane, legs trembling. He told me he stopped trying to move after the second fall. "It's easier," he said, but the defeat in his voice made me want to scream. One morning, I dropped a napkin. Just a napkin, white, thin. It fluttered like a feather. I bent down, hand extended, determined to grab it. I never made it. Jenny appeared, scooped it up. "No worries?" "Charlotte, that's what I'm here for." She smiled, kind as always. But I wasn't smiling. That napkin was more than fabric. It was the last scrap of independence I thought I still had. I miss my walks. I miss my porch. I miss the burn in my thighs after vacuuming the whole house. I miss carrying groceries in one trip just to prove I still could. I miss me. Now, my body feels foreign. Soft where it was once firm, unsure where it was once grounded. Every step is a negotiation, every stretch a risk. I went from moving through the world like I belonged in it, to being moved, positioned, arranged. I lie awake some nights, knees throbbing, remembering how I used to walk barefoot through the dew-kissed grass to check on my roses. I close my eyes and whisper, 50 steps. Just give me back those 50 steps. But they don't come. They don't come at home. Privacy wasn't a privilege. It was my peace. I had my little rituals. My pink robe, threadbare and soft, a Mother's Day gift from Caleb when he was still losing baby teeth. I'd shuffle into the bathroom, shut the heavy oak door behind me, and let the mirror fog up while I hummed Moon River off key. I'd take long showers, water hot, steam curling up like the arms of memory. There was a crack in the tile that looked like a heart. Nathan always said we should fix it. I never let him. Now they knock once and come right in. "Just checking," Nurse Jenny says, her voice slicing through the half-open door before I can answer. Flashlights during nightly room checks sweep across my wrinkled skin like I'm being inspected, not cared for. My roommate, Clara, snores like a freight train, talks to her cats in her sleep, and spills tea on my Dickens novels. "Whoops, clumsy me," she laughs, while my pages curl in soggy grief. There's no door to shut here, just curtains. Thin, blue, pathetic. One night I needed a shower. Just something simple. At home, I'd turn on the water, hum a song, and feel the day melt off. Here, I pressed the red button. Waited, 10 minutes, 20. My robe was slipping from my shoulders, dignity unraveling with every second. "Sorry." "Short-staffed," Jenny said as she helped me undress. Her hands were gentle, but they were not mine. I stood there, skin pricking under the fluorescent glare, my body cold and foreign. I wasn't Charlotte anymore. I was room 12B. She washed my back like I was a child. "All set," she chirped when it was over, patting my shoulder like I'd done something brave. But I didn't feel brave. I felt erased. Ruth, the woman in 14A, whispered to me over tea. I tried closing the curtain once. Clara thought I was hiding something. Peeked right in. I nodded. I'd tried that too. Just a minute alone. Maybe to write a letter I'd never send. I pulled the curtain shut, sat on my bed, and let myself feel something. But even that moment got interrupted. "You okay in there?" Clara called, part curious, part invasive. I nodded. Of course I did. But inside, I was screaming. At home, my bedroom was my haven, my sanctuary, the place I went to fall apart if I needed to, with no one watching. My mirror, my robe, my floor I vacuumed in my own rhythm. Now everything is shared, monitored, assigned, and I feel like I'm vanishing between scheduled vitals and plastic cups of pills. You don't lose dignity all at once. It's not loud, it's slow. A chipped piece here, a glance too long there, until the person you were dissolves. And all you're left with is the memory of who you used to be. When your name was more than a door label, and your body was still your own. When I first rolled my suitcase through the doors of Meadowbrook Haven, I told myself it was temporary. "We'll try it," I said, optimism wrapped in wool sweaters and Nathan's broken watch. I still pictured my porch swing waiting for me, the geraniums leaning toward sunlight on the windowsill like they missed my voice. I believed I could go back whenever I wanted. That was the lie I told myself to make it bearable. But time doesn't wait, and neither does the world outside. 2 weeks in, Caleb called. "Just clearing out some clutter. Mom," he said lightly. "Your green armchair, Mrs. Buckley offered $20 for it. You never liked that thing, right?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. It was the chair where I read to Hazel, where Nathan rubbed my shoulders after long days. My Jane Austen collection got boxed. My garden shears sold at a yard sale. My life, whittled down to what fit in a dresser and a drawer. 6 months passed before I said it aloud. "I think I'm ready to come home." My voice trembled with something that felt like hope. Silence. Then Caleb, soft but firm, "Can you manage the stairs, Mom?" I knew the answer, and I knew what came next. Jack, now living 3 states away, added, "It's safer here. You know that." His voice had the cold practicality of someone who's already moved on. They didn't mean to be cruel, but they didn't hear the ache in my chest, the quiet scream I held in every night. Ruth, down the hall, had tried to leave. "Just a trial," she whispered one gray afternoon, staring at her half-empty teacup. But her apartment had already been leased. Her rosebush dug up. Now she sits in the corner with a shawl, staring out the window like she's searching for the ghost of her old life. Tom's fishing cabin was sold to pay his care fees. His rod rusts in someone else's shed now. He taps his cane like it's Morse code for, I wasn't ready to let go. We all tell ourselves we can leave. But the truth is, once you give up your house, your rhythm, your strength, the door quietly locks behind you, not with chains but with time. Muscles fade. Money drains. Family adapts to the new arrangement. They mean well, but their lives continue. Without your Sunday dinners. Without your porch light glowing. I sit by the narrow window now, watching clouds drift and seasons pass. The swing Nathan hung in 79 sways in my mind's eye. His hands, callosed and gentle, tying knots with a grin. Our laughter still lingers there. I once believed that moving here was surrendering a burden. But it was surrendering me. And if I could go back, I'd beg them to help me stay, to fix the railings, to walk with me, to try harder. Because getting out isn't as easy as walking in, and once you stop living your life, someone else starts packing it up. Every wrinkle, every ache, every silver strand tells a story of love, of laughter, of storms survived. But what no one warns you about is how easily those stories can be shelved, packed away in boxes, or hidden behind locked facility doors. It's not the nursing home itself that breaks your heart. It's the quiet erosion of choice, the slow dissolving of dignity, and the feeling that you've become background noise in the lives you once centered. I don't fear getting old. I fear disappearing while I'm still breathing. If you're at the crossroads, deciding for yourself or someone you love, don't just ask what's safest. Ask what keeps us human. Sometimes the best care is not in a facility, but in effort. In modifying stairs, sharing meals, or simply showing up. Because once someone fades into routine, they stop being seen. And everyone, no matter their age, deserves to be seen. If you have aging parents or loved ones, pause and look at them. Not as burdens, not as risks, but as people still writing their story. Consider alternatives before resorting to full-time care. Can a handrail save them from the stairs? Could meal delivery and regular visits preserve their rhythm? Aging in place isn't about denial. It's about dignity. And if you must choose assisted living, stay present. Visit often. Bring something familiar. Recreate rituals. A favorite meal, a Sunday call, a walk in the sun. Don't just promise to visit, schedule it like it matters, because it does. And if you're the elder yourself, know this: your voice still matters. Speak up. Advocate. Tell your truth. Because your chipped mug, your creaky steps, your stubborn little garden, they're not small things. They're you.